This is a Nyckelharpa. This is a Swedish Nyckelharpa. It's a bowed string instrument that has keys. The way it works is the horsehair on the bow gets pulled across the strings and makes them sound. There's 4 playing strings. These are strings that are higher on the bridge, and they each have a different pitch. In between those playing strings, there's 12 resonating strings. Those strings are lower in the bridge, and you can't actually touch them with the bow. So how do they work? They work because of the physics of vibration. So if I play the G string, the G resonating string vibrates, and the rest of the strings do not. If I change and play G sharp, the G sharp resonating string vibrates, and the G doesn't, and the other ones don't either. So those resonating strings give Nyckelharpa part of its unique sound and a more robust sound, which was appropriate because originally the Nyckelharpa oftentimes was playing for dancing, and people needed to hear it. The bow also, besides giving the sound, gives the rhythm and the rhythmic patterns of the music. So a minute ago, I just played single strokes, like that. But if I change the speed of the bow and the length of the bow, I can get shorter and faster notes, still using those same playing strings. So I get patterns in the notes, and that makes it more interesting and gives you lots of possibilities. Here's a tune that you might recognize, and I bet you can even say the English name of it. In Swedish, it's Blinka Blinka Lilla Stjärna. Did you figure it out? All right. But I didn't talk about how I was getting those extra notes. So I was using the playing strings. Actually, I was using just 2 of the 4. But then I was also pressing keys along the side. So one of Nyckelharpa's other special features is these keys. And in fact, it gets its name from those keys because the word for key in Swedish is nyckel. So this is a Nyckelharpa. And there's 3 rows of keys. And that enables low, medium, and high notes, kind of like you have on a piano. Similar to a piano, on my Nyckelharpa, the keys are color-coded. So maybe you can see there's black keys and gold keys. And on a piano, they would correspond to black and white keys. So I can have my natural notes and my sharps and flats. Here I'll play on each of the rows so you can hear that difference of low and high. Then I go to the next next row and the next string. And the last row and the highest string. And then if you keep going up, you have even more notes. So it has a 3-octave range. So you have lots of possibilities to play different melodies and accompanying parts on this instrument. You can see in this poster some photographs of older styles of Nyckelharpa. So here's the contrabass harpa from the 1600s, the silverbass harpa from the 1800s, and then the Saltstrom harpa, which often is called the modern Swedish Nyckelharpa, and that's the style that I play, which is from the 20th century. All of those instruments are still in use today and are still being built by makers around the world. In the 21st century, some makers are even adding a new model of Nyckelharpa, and they're adding keys on the 4th playing string, and they're adding more keys so that you have even more notes. In fact, it can have a 4-octave range then. And they're making the instrument in different sizes. So this would be the equivalent of a viola range and a viola size, but some makers are doing it a little bit smaller, so it's like violin range, or bigger as a cello. And that's very appealing to people who play those instruments because they don't have to change their fingering. Whereas on this Swedish style, which has a different tuning, it is a different fingering. The 37 Nyckelharpa keys are in 3 rows on this version of Nyckelharpa. In the 21st century, the 4-row Nyckelharpa has additional keys on the 4th playing string up the neck. So here you can see there's keys in 4 rows. You can see it this way too. And so there's more possible notes for this. This one was made by a maker in Eau Claire. So we have a Nyckelharpa builder who's close by and helps many of us with repairs and getting strings and things. The Nyckelharpa is often referred to as the national instrument of Sweden because that's where its roots, its origins are, and there's a very long, many hundred years old playing tradition of Nyckelharpa in Sweden, particularly in the province of Uppland. In Sweden, there's a number of churches that have angels playing Nyckelharpas in their sculptures and in their paintings. Here's one example. This one's actually in Italy, which has a few images like that. There's more in Sweden, and they are from the 14th and 15th centuries. So the instrument goes back very, very far. It's not exactly the same, but you can see the similarities of the bow and the strings and the keys along the side. In the Twin Cities, we have the largest number of Nyckelharpa players, we think, in the US, playing in a group, and our group is called Twin Cities Nyckelharpa Lag. Lag is the Swedish word for team. So we're of Nyckelharpa players, plus we have other instruments in the group too. And here we are in a performance here at the American Swedish Institute, which is our home base. Our affiliation is here. I will end with a waltz, and this waltz uses all 4 playing strings and all 3 rows of the keys. String, the C1, the one that doesn't have keys on it, gets used only a couple times. So use your eyes and your ears, and you'll see when I get to that C.